Welcome everybody to Marginally Qualified, a basement sports talk show
With me,
with
Bernie
Bernie
Kellman.
and Grant, where we share our opinions on the week in sports. Today is Wednesday, July 12th. We have a good list of topics to go through today.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Avery Bradley trade, Romelu Lukaku signing with Manchester United.
What a name.
It's a pretty cool name.
Yeah.
World Series favorites at the All-Star break, and a little bit about some of the upsets that went down at Wimbledon today. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into it, starting with Avery Bradley, Boston Celtics straight away, their star shooting guard. I consider him a star. To clear up cap space to sign Gordon Hayward last week, they've now lost Olynyk, Amir Johnson, Jonas Jerebko. Avery Bradley makes 4.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Celtics giving up too much to sign Gordon Hayward?
Well, let's get something out of the way real quick. Jerebko and Johnson are trash.
No,
They're
they're
garbage
not.
players. They're not good. They're bad people. I know from personal experience. And Boston, doesn't want them. Now, let's talk about the players that actually matter there. Kelly Olynyk, despite being OP in 2K, is a great player in real life as well.
He's pretty good.
Great player in real life.
I like him.
Very nice backup center. He could maybe even be a starting center for some bad teams. And that's the type of guy you want as your backup center, someone who can start on another team. Excellent.
And someone who brings a change of pace.
Right. His play style is
centers.
very different from their starter, which is, I don't really know if they have a true center on their team besides Kelly Olynyk. So it's nice to have him in there, and they lost that. And they also lost Avery Bradley, who is the second best player on their team, I think.
Bradley was a significant player to them last year.
Yeah.
He was one of their on-court leaders. He was second on the team in points and three-point percentage, if I can remember correctly. He's also by far their best perimeter defender. Made up for a lot of Isaiah's defensive deficiencies.
If I was starting a basketball team and I had to pick one of the Boston Celtics to start the team with, I would pick Avery Bradley.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even a question for me.
Right.
This will be a different Celtics team. With that being said, I think it might be a better one, especially down the road. Avery Bradley's contract is expiring.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to get paid next year.
We just talked about him being a big-time talent.
Yeah.
Market value, probably they're not going to be able to keep him anyway. This is a move they had to make, and I think you can make up for Avery Bradley at the margins. Right? Brad Stevens wants to play this positionless basketball kind of thing where you have ball handlers, wings, and guards. Not guards and bigs, right? Those
Sure.
three. And as good as Avery Bradley is, he's a traditional 2-guard, and he doesn't really fit into one of those categories all that well.
Right.
Right? So you can make up for the 3-point shooting with the Terry Roziers, the Jason Tatums. You can make up for his defense with Jaylen Brown, being able to switch 2 through 4 the way they want to.
Yeah. And you get an all-around all-star in Gordon Hayward. You make the room for him to show up. So I think it's going to be a better Boston team.
It's going to be a better Boston team, especially with those 3 bigs that we talked about leaving. They do get Marcus Morris in the trade.
Right, who's a good player.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He could be that day one starting power forward. I think size problems abound, but who knows? Do you think that without Bradley they can win? They can beat Cleveland anyway?
Oh, I think they're going to lose to Cleveland.
They're going to lose to Cleveland, and we touched on that.
They can't stop Cleveland.
So do you think they're not going to stop Cleveland this year?
Right.
But we're talking about this move years down the road.
For the long term.
Are the Celtics more likely to win with an Isaiah, Hayward, Horford trio, or a futures team? Tatum,
I think a futures
Brown,
team.
Next year's first-round pick.
I would definitely rather take a futures team from the Celtics. They've got something along the lines of, I think, depending on how protected picks lay out, they're going to have 4 to 7 first-round picks over the next 4 years. And on top of that, they've got extra first-round picks down the line, and they could turn those assets into good players in the NBA right now if they wanted to trade them. I think they could draft a team out of those players. I think that's what they should do. And I think down the road they're going to be a really, really elite team in this league.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could be. So should they even be converting assets at this point?
No, I think they should be holding on to their assets. I think they should give away what they have to be Eastern Conference finalists for the next 3 years. And then they should attack. They should switch into win now mode. And I think they're in win now mode right now, which is a little bit of a mistake in my opinion. Because I've said this to you a million times. I think the Golden State Warriors are the best team that's ever been assembled in the history of the NBA.
Best I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm only 19 years old, but
so am I. But if you look at it, who's gonna beat them? Who's gonna beat them?
So let's talk about Detroit's side of this trade a little bit.
Right.
Give up Marcus Morris, get a second round pick. Good or bad move for the Pistons?
It's a good move in the sense that you bring a guy like Avery Bradley in.
Yeah.
Avery Bradley is a guy that anyone would want on their team. It's a bad move in the sense that essentially you brought him in order to replace the best player in your team.
Right. The Pistons had the restricted free agent rights to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who was the best player on the Pistons team last year. They renounced his rights once they knew Avery Bradley was coming. So, let me put it this way for you. Basically, they flipped Marcus Morris and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for Avery Bradley's expiring contract.
Right.
Have the Pistons lost direction here?
I feel like maybe they have a little bit. I feel like the Pistons are in a spot where they're torn between either hitting the reset button and trying to trade away their players for assets and rebuild in the future, and trying to maintain the relatively young core they have right now and add the pieces they need in order to compete.
Yeah.
I want them to trade away Drummond and Jackson. I want them to try to get the assets and then restart.
This is certainly a negative move. The team is worse now.
And they will be worse in 2 years.
It might be a good move if Van Gundy's looking to blow it up, if that makes sense. Reggie Jackson gets a pass on last year because of injury problems. Andre Drummond does not for me. You talked last week about Andre Drummond being a good defender, and I can't believe I didn't catch it at the time because I think I would have refuted it. But I watched our stuff as I was editing it.
You studied the tape.
I was editing it again, and I'd like to refute it now. Andre Drummond is not good at defense, right? He's what we like to call a cosmetic defender. He looks like he should be able to do it.
You told me that you wanted to argue this point on the episode today. And I said, all right, I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to do my research, and I'm going to prove to him that Andre Drummond is a great defender. And I researched it, and I found that he's definitely not a great defender. His numbers don't back that up. His defense plus minus isn't good. The team performs better with Aaron Baines on the floor.
He's a poor rim protector, and he has not figured out the pick and roll.
Right.
People think he's a good defender
because he has all the ability. He has all the natural abilities that he needs to be a good defender.
He reminds you of Russell Westbrook, right?
Sure.
Russell Westbrook is a freak.
Athletically.
Yes. And when he really wants to, he can lock someone down for a 6-second dribble, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if you actually watch Russell Westbrook, which is to say, you don't even have to watch him for a whole game. Just watch like a quarter. Watch him on defense for a quarter.
Watch 4 possessions.
And you see how many assignments he blows.
Yeah.
And I don't...
Especially against teams that really utilize switching and pick and rolls. And
he misses a lot of rotations and a lot of backdoor cuts, and he tends to cripple his defense a little bit with some of his gambles. Some of them turn out great, and he gets highlight dunks, and then we say, oh, he's awesome at defense.
Right, and he could be a great defender if he wanted to be.
It's the same thing with Drummond.
Yeah. Drummond, runs like a buck.
Dudes that big should not be able to slide their feet that well.
Right. And he shouldn't be able to jump that high and, just be that agile as he is. But he is.
Right.
And because of that, there's no excuse for how poorly he performs on practically every defensive stand that isn't him against a guy directly in the post, which really hasn't been the NBA style of basketball since the early 90s.
He can even do perimeter ISO sometimes because that's when he's locked in. It's either a feel thing or an intensity thing. There were too many plays last season when there was a ball handler going to the rim. Drummond's on the other side of the paint. It's his rim protection responsibility. He's also got his man on his back. But he's got corner help from the backside defender, and he just doesn't go. Right? So I don't know if that's intensity. I don't know if that's feel. I know Van Gundy on pick and rolls wants him to play drop coverage. He wants him to give up the mid-range jump shot.
Yeah.
Right? But oftentimes he just doesn't come out far enough where the guy's basically just taking a layup anyway. I don't know if that's intensity or feel. Feel can be learned. It can be taught. I don't know if intensity can, and that's where I'm worried.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how it develops down the road.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Pistons move him.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
He needs to be a better defender if he's a limited offensive contributor.
Exactly.
Anyway.
He needs to be elite on one side of the ball.
Fair. Totally fair. If you're going to make him the centerpiece. Along the lines of centerpieces, would you rather they blow it up and wait another 5 years to be relevant, or try to stick with his current group and be a middle-of-the-road playoff team?
I think you have to blow it up. If you're a middle-of-the-road playoff team, you get stuck in what I like to call NBA purgatory, which is where you're an 8 seed, you get the pick of an 8 seed, he develops into a player who's a decent player on an 8 seed, and then the cycle repeats itself. The Hawks were an 8 seed or like an 8 through 6 seed for like 10 seasons in a row, if I remember. Like, that's not. I didn't research that.
Smith and Jamal Crawford,
right, I didn't research that.
Joe Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't research that, so I don't know if my numbers are 100% correct. But they were a team where every year you get to the playoffs and you'd be like, oh, the Hawks made the playoffs.
I don't know if that's true, but it feels like it's true.
Right. Eventually, they kind of broke through that.
With a different group, though.
Right, with a different group of players.
With a totally different group.
Yeah. So I think the Pistons need a new group.
I would have said stick with this group before they let KCP walk. KCP is not going to be the best player on a championship team unless some drastic changes.
I think he could be the third best player on a championship team. Could be the third best player.
Yeah. And he was the best player on this team. Right? He was the only player that could shoot threes consistently.
He was the only player
that played defense consistently.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He's the only player that played with any sort of intensity consistently, which is alarming.
Yeah.
Right? For a team that was fighting to make the playoffs the whole year, he was the only one that looked like he was sweating.
Yeah.
And that's a little scary. Stan Van Gundy is trying to make Andre Drummond into Dwight Howard 2.0, and as gifted as Andre is, I don't know if that works anymore.
I agree with that statement. But I feel like, back to your intensity thing, I just want to make a quick comment on that.
Yeah.
The entire year, the whole Pistons thing was, we're so close, we're just 3 games out. But it never once felt that way. Even though the entire year we were just 2 or 3 games out of the playoffs, we even had the 8 seed position for a while. It never felt like we were in the playoffs. It never felt like we were a playoff team in just the way we played, watching them. Because I do watch the Pistons.
Yeah.
Because I am from Michigan. So.
Southeast Michigan.
Yeah.
I think letting KCP walk was a mistake.
Yeah, it was.
Especially with the way the game is going now. If you were going to keep one of those guys, I would have rather they kept Kentavious.
I would rather they kept KCP than anyone else on that team.
Yeah. It's hard to say, though. I mean, who would have thought 5 years ago if I told you Klay Thompson and Draymond Green were going to be 2 dynamic centerpieces on a championship team? Would you have believed me?
No.
No,
I wouldn't know.
No.
So, I said Draymond Green is a Spartan, and he's awful. And
he was a
hates
good
him.
player. He was good. I didn't think he was going to be this good. Speaking of players that could be good but are not yet, the Sixers, Markelle Fultz hurts his ankle last week in a summer league game. I know this is not supposed to be a bad injury, but it is an injury to their first-round pick. Are the Sixers cursed?
Yeah, they are cursed.
Oh,
Sam
no.
Hinkie from Beyond the NBA grave is, haunting them. He's lying down on the court when the
What's up,
players
Sam?
jump up in the air. He's grabbing by the ankles and yanking them down and breaking them. He's literally twisting them. No, they're not cursed. They're not cursed. Curses aren't real. They're just unlucky. They drafted 2 players who had injury history.
That's a good point.
And when they got injured again, everyone was like, "Oh, what? They got injured again? Yeah, they got injured again. It happens."
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't even something to be worried about. This Fultz thing.
It's like a week thing.
It's like a week, 2 week thing.
Yeah.
He'll be perfectly fine by the regular season. Which they did move up a week. Did you see that? That was weird. Why
they did move it up a week. They wanted to create more off days.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's good. So teams will get like 3 more off days. Yeah, something like that.
Who knows? I don't know how it works.
I
don't know when the end date is. Do you give any validity to any sports curses? Not injury related, because those are just
sports curses aren't real.
I think
the Madden curse isn't real. The what is it? Base God, little B cursing James Harden.
I'd rather we didn't talk about that guy.
I actually hate that guy because what
he
does is when teams are going into games that they're like definitely gonna lose, he'll be like, "I curse you." Like before the Spurs series this year, he was like, "I'm cursing James Harden." You're not cursing James Harden. He's playing the Spurs. He's not gonna win.
That's a good point. I think some curses have validity in the sense that people are saying these things about you, and they're so incredibly stupid.
Right. Yeah.
That you're trying too hard to prove them wrong instead of playing your game, and it gets in your head a little bit.
Next season, whenever the Kings or the Knicks play Golden State, I'm gonna curse them. So that's why they're gonna lose. Yeah.
Don't talk about my Kings like that. Let's move on to Demarre Carroll, swingman for the Toronto Raptors.
Yes, sir.
And owner of the best nickname in basketball.
Currently, the Junkyard Dog?
The Junkyard Dog.
That's a great name.
I'd go with that as the best. He was traded to the Nets the other day.
That's a conversation we should have.
Best
basketball nicknames.
Yeah, we should. We should do that later.
We should do that later.
He sounded off on the Raptors' untrusting culture on his way out the door, right? Mm-hmm. And you could definitely see this when you watch the Raptors. They have 2 plays on offense, and they alternate between them, just so people know it's coming.
Right. Because it'd be unfair if they were to change it up.
It would be unfair if they, had an unpredictable pattern.
Right.
But it's the Kyle Lowry ball screen.
Mm-hmm.
And if that ball screen doesn't work, then he passes to DeMar DeRozan, who goes iso ball into a contested mid-range jumper. And the other play is just give it to DeMar DeRozan and let him do a contested mid-range jumper.
So the fun thing about that offense is that no matter what they do, it always ends the same way.
It's ugly. It's really ugly, and ugly's okay if you're winning. I guess 2 years ago I was rooting against them in the playoffs because I didn't want to watch any more of that. But this Demarre Carroll saying this now, I used to think it was on Dwayne Casey, the offense. Now I'm not sure anymore. What's going on here?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not in their locker room. I don't know what the not trusting nature really means.
Yeah.
What I do know is that the Raptors have been on the decline for the past 2 years. I know that their players aren't getting younger. They're getting worse. I know that there's some all-stars on that team.
And by that we mean there's one all-star on that team.
Yeah, and he's not an all-star.
And it's not DeMar DeRozan.
Right. And
Kyle Lowry.
I don't know.
I wish he was, the same player in the playoffs, but I think he goes on vacation or something.
If I were Drake, I would be very frustrated.
What, with all your dollars?
Right, yeah.
All your successful songs, you'd be frustrated.
Right, with all my successful songs. Because it's so much better being a Pistons fan than a Toronto fan.
At least the Pistons had banners, though.
Right.
To be fair.
Yeah, 2. No, 3. Pardon
me.
They
have 3.
Pardon me.
Do the Raptors have any chance at a banner with this group?
Not with this group.
Not with this
group. Bring back the Bostrich. That's what I always say.
Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady still playing?
No,
Yeah.
he's not.
I guess
He's an
Chris Bosh
ESPN
is-
analyst. Neither is Chris Bosh. But no, I think normally when players sound off on a team as he's on the way out the door, it's like a parting shot. He's upset with stuff
Yeah.
one way or another. And you talked about this to me the other day. About, disgruntled players. It's what do you call it?
Oh, I mean, they're just pissed off. I don't quite remember what exactly I said,
Yeah.
but you always want to take parting shots at an organization.
Right.
You feel slighted by the fact that they either didn't want you or, they just didn't, do right by you.
Uh-huh.
We even see that with players who played for organizations for an extremely long time. And it can be delayed, too. Like, recently Calvin Johnson has been in the news talking about the Detroit Lions.
Right, and we might talk about that briefly later.
He hasn't even played for the Lions in like 2 or 3 years. It's kind of weird that this is coming out now.
Yeah.
And some of his comments don't make any sense to me, but,
I haven't really looked at his comments.
But we can talk about that later. But this is something you see in all sports all the time.
Yeah, you do.
Demarre probably has some, validity to his claims.
I give him more credibility.
He played on, one of the teams that has some of the
He
best.
played on that 60-win Atlanta Hawks team from 3 years ago.
And that was some of the best team chemistry I've ever seen on the team.
They had 4 All-Stars with players.
They ran 10 men deep.
Yeah.
Like,
That maybe shouldn't have made the All-Star game had they been on different teams. So with that background, he gets more respect from my group.
mm-hmm.
And certainly on the eyeball test, the Raptors' main men don't look like they trust the other guys.
Yeah.
Something needs to change for them. They should blow it up, probably.
Yeah, blow it up.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
Everybody should blow it up.
Just everyone should. You're not going to do the finals. Blow it up.
It's unfortunate. We take a break real quick, and
All right.
we will come back
With Lukaku.
with Romelu Lukaku. An awesome name. That is going right.
Yeah, really is.
All right.
We're back.
Hello. We're back.
How's it going?
Bernie,
Yeah.
you seen any musicals lately?
Yeah, I actually have.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I watched this one musical the other day called Nunya. No, but I did watch this musical starring Zac Efron and some other spunky teens like Corbin Bleu. It's from 2002. Takes place in high school. I cried at the end. Yeah.
I've actually never seen that.
No, it's pretty awesome. You should
Is
watch
it awesome?
I love it.
Speaking of awesome.
Speaking of awesome,
Awesome
names.
Awesome names. Romelu Lukaku.
Transitions.
Transition into soccer now.
Yeah.
That was a good transition, Bernie. Props for you.
Yep.
Belgian striker Romelu Lukaku played at Everton last season. We've been hearing a while how he was going to make a move to Chelsea. And all of a sudden, last week, Manchester United swoops in and signs him. It's official. He's going to be Paul Pogba's teammate, his lifelong buddy, or I don't know what their deal is. But
Best
this
friends.
was best friends, I think. This was pretty unexpected, certainly perceived as a big-time coup on United's part, and it gives them that dynamic offensive presence that Mourinho was searching for. So I guess I wanted to talk about a little bit. Does United have a shot to run at the title this season? Bernie, do you have any opinion on this?
Well, I'm not a big soccer fan. I prefer American sports like tennis.
Well, maybe I'll go first.
No,
and
I'm
then-
kidding.
And then I
I'm kidding.
can
I know
then
tennis is an
maybe
American sport, but from an outsider's perspective, it seems like this dude is awesome,
he's a freak.
and you're adding him to one of the better teams, right?
They were one of the better teams.
Yeah, so they're probably gonna win. I don't know. Ask him.
Last season, Manchester United finished 5th in the Premier League. No, they finished 6th. They still won the Europa League, so they're in Champions League football. Last season, though, most of the time, they didn't look very dominating. In fact, at times they looked bad. They were clearly following manager Jose Mourinho's philosophy that winning a game 1-0 is quote unquote the easiest thing to do in football. And it looked like that's what they were trying to do. They pack it in on defense, try to make it work with a few counterattacks. Lukaku is a monster. He's 6'3", 210 pounds. Soccer, that's monstrous.
I mean, in any sport, that's pretty
huge.
big.
Not to mention this dude runs like a deer. Right? This is the forward that Mourinho's looking for. Lukaku has detractors. He has a lot of them. They say he's not involved with his teammates most of the time. He doesn't get the feel of the build-up play a lot. But if you got a guy that you can just kick it up there and you can run through two dudes and score a goal, I mean, you're going to score more goals. They're going to be better with him. They might not be prettier with him. He's the most physically imposing striker in our game today. Another year for the likes of the Eric Bailly's, Jesse Lingard, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford too. This team looks poised to create more offense and be significantly better. Again, they're probably not going to be prettier yet. Many of their creative types are pretty young. If they win a title, but it looks bad. If your team wins, right? Your team, your opinion.
Just general sports question.
Yeah. Do you care if it matters how they do it? Doesn't matter how it looks.
We're getting the W though.
You're getting a trophy.
Getting the trophy.
You're getting a trophy.
Yeah, I could not care less about whether a team wins pretty or ugly. It's, are they winning?
Are they winning?
In any sport, any sport, that's got to be the goal.
Certainly, yeah. That's got to be the first goal.
Winning
is winning.
You can, outside fans will probably hate you if you win ugly. People will be like, oh, that's awful. When I was little, I read a book written by a former world top 10 tennis player called Winning Ugly. And this dude had the worst strokes, but he just understood the game so well, he was able to win. And, as a Pistons fan, you look back to the Bad Boys, who were probably the ugliest style of basketball of all time.
Even that 2014.
2014 wasn't pretty.
They don't have the same rep the Bad Boys do, but they were scoring like 85 points a game. They won a title.
They did it with defense. They did it by banging people up. And I don't know how that relates to soccer. But
Stuart Scott, I think it was Stuart Scott, halftime interview with one of the Pistons players during the finals. He said something along the lines of, you guys shot 60% in the first half. The Pistons never shoot 60%, right? But here they are in the finals, and they took it to them.
Right. As long as you win, it doesn't matter how you win.
Right. I agree with that. I do think this question is a little bit more loaded than it seems head on.
Sure.
And I'll tell you why. In most sports, again, I don't care. I love watching defensive American football games. I love watching defensive basketball games, right?
Yeah.
Those are my kind of teams. North Carolina was awesome to me, even though they
didn't put up a ton of points.
And they didn't have a whole lot of offense.
The entire offense was throw a shot up and get the offensive
rebound. It wasn't the entire offense, but it was their best offense.
Was the entire offense. They were most efficient when they just chucked the ball at the rim and chased it.
In most sports, I don't care. If USA Soccer won trophies, just packing the bus in and just converting on a few counter attacks a game, I would be thrilled.
Yeah.
Right? But this situation is a little bit different. Manchester United has a history of winning. This is a big-time soccer club, and soccer's a bit of a different sport, right? If they win this year, nobody's going to care. But as it goes down, if they're still competing and they're still in the title contention with an ugly brand, I think some of their fans are going to get a little bit restless, right? Because for us in American sports, there's a lot of turnover. Winning championships is not expected for us, if you know what I mean. It's what we hope for, but that's not minimal what we need.
Right.
to be happy with the franchise. Right. If the Pistons,
finished fourth in the East this year, I'd be
happy.
ecstatic.
Right. That's not really how it works with the big time clubs
Okay.
in European football.
What you're telling me is that they still have a chance to win. You're telling me they still win, right?
Look, if they're winning,
If they're
winning 2 trophies every year, nobody's going to care.
Exactly.
But if they're winning sporadically, and people are saying they would win more if they clean it up a bit, there's issues.
Let me pose this question to you.
Sure.
Would the fans over there and around the world care if the team would the fans rather have the team playing ugly and winning 2 trophies a year, or playing pretty and winning 1?
I'm not sure.
Really, it's that up in the air. As an American sports fan, that's incomprehensible.
Right. It is because of the turnover in American sports.
Okay.
But every year, obviously there are surprises in European football. But every year going into it, you kind of know who the top dogs are going to be.
Okay.
Right. I know what you're saying. Eventually, at some point, I think they're going to be pressured to make it look nicer.
All right.
First step, though, is they have to win a title. And hopefully Lukaku can do that for them. Going across the United Kingdom, Arsenal's veteran defender, Mertesacker, he is almost 33 now. He's going into his retirement tour a year. Farewell tour of sorts, even though he's not going to play a whole lot. He's being groomed to take over as Arsenal's academy coach. And I know that he's not the main coach at the moment, but is it kind of weird that a player is transitioning from player to coach with no break in between?
I would say no.
You'd say no?
Again, this is from an American sports fan's perspective.
Yeah.
But logically, he's been on Arsenal for how many years?
I don't know. He's been there for a while.
He knows their program. He knows what they want. He knows what type of player they want.
Yeah.
Who better than him to run a developmental program?
Right, and those are all the arguments for letting him do it.
Right.
It seems like it's a good idea. It's just not something we tend to see that often, and especially not in American sports.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish we would? Do you? 5 years, LeBron retires. Do you want him to coach immediately?
Yes, I want him to coach immediately.
3-month turnaround.
If possible, I would like there to be an overlap. That is how badly I want to see that, and not just with him. I would see that with all types of players. Now, in all seriousness, I would definitely want to see that. That'd be so cool. If LeBron switched and became a coach instantly, he's practically the coach right now.
You don't think there needs to be that period of self-reflection of, okay, I'm done being a player, now I need to see things differently, because you're on the completely other side of it.
Look, that is something you can get throughout your NBA career. We saw that with Juwan Howard. The dude played for a million different teams, played for a long time, was never really an all-time great, but he transitioned into being a player coach. He was a veteran on that Miami team that won those championships, and he was there, even though he was a player, he was there far more as a coaching presence. The same thing happened with David Robinson at the end of his NBA career. When they re-signed him near the end of his career, people started to talk about him as a player coach, which is, not unheard of.
It's not unheard of.
Now, David Robinson didn't transition into being a head coach, and neither
right.
and neither did Juwan Howard, and neither is this guy.
Would you like to see somebody just go straight into being the manager?
The manager?
David Ortiz won the AL MVP last year, right?
Right.
40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the worst major league team right now? San Diego.
No,
the
Tigers.
It's
no,
the
it's
Phillies.
not the Tigers, but
Phillies have the worst record, but who even remembers that San Diego has a team?
Not a lot of people.
Probably no one.
But let's think about this, though.
Do you think San Diego would hire Ortiz? as the manager.
If they did, no one would.
Not to say that he's a good manager, but
Right.
hypothetically, something along those lines.
Right. Not to. I mean, if I'm not sure if that would be good or not, but if they did, people wouldn't forget that San Diego has a team. In terms of business
That's
move,
an interesting opinion. I've not thought of that.
People wouldn't forget about that. It'd be David Ortiz is doing that. That would be the talk of the MLB. If you sign into like a 1 year, a 2 year manager position, people are gonna know that San Diego has a baseball team.
What if it was a good player but not a great player?
A good player but not a great player?
Where Mertesacker is.
You
still do it.
If there's enough, I think it's a marketing thing. If there's enough, notability, recognizable player, you know what I mean? A player who is well known around the league, instantly transitioning. I don't know how effective he'll be, but it'll definitely get a lot of buzz, it'll get a lot of media attention, and sure, maybe it'll be bad, but I feel like it'd be great for business, wouldn't it?
Seems like it.
Yeah, and some players I feel like would be very good at transitioning into
I think some
player
would.
coaches.
And I think Mertesacker will be.
Yeah, I
in his role.
I feel like some more mature, some more experienced players in any sport
Uh-huh.
are more than qualified to instantly transition.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't happen because, when you're playing for a team, it's very much like coaching a team. It's incredibly stressful. It's incredibly tiring. The time commitment is, just as much as any other profession you could possibly have. I would have to imagine.
Seems like it.
In season, that is.
Uh-huh.
Out of season, obviously not. Still massive time commitment, but not as much. Essentially what I'm saying is I feel like players like to rest, and that's the only reason why we don't see more players transitioning instantly.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Moving on, the U.S. men's national team, or the U.S. men's national B team. Go USA, but they sucked.
Yeah.
Played their first match of the Gold Cup on Saturday against Panama, and at best was disappointing. At best. Midfield looked shaky, defense. There were times in that game where you didn't know there were even American defenders on the field. Something needs to change, whether it's tactical stuff or they just need to play with more intensity. Something needs to change. They lost this match on chances created, probably. It's the way it goes. They need to have a better performance against Martinique tonight.
I'm sorry, is that a country?
That was my reaction as well. Martinique.
It sounds like someone from
Martinique.
Sounds like someone from a foreign country is mispronouncing the name Martin.
Martinique.
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 Where is that? Is it South America? It's got to be, right?
Be in Central America. This is like a Central American tournament.
I have no idea where that is. Okay, besides the point.
Someone needs to step up in this young group. Looking for 21-year-old midfielder Kellen Acosta from Plano, Texas, to fill that role. He seems to have the brightest future of this group. He seems to have... No, he doesn't have the most experience in big games yet, but I think he's going to of this group. I hope they can turn it around tonight. I'd like to see Bruce Arena make some changes. Yep, that's about all we have on soccer. Do you want to take a quick break?
Yeah, sure.
Transition to baseball.
Transition to baseball. When we come back, we'll talk about why baseball is boring.
Oh, don't do that. Welcome back, everybody. Before we jump into baseball, Bernie, I'd like to ask your opinion on hot dogs. Good food or bad food?
Great food.
Great food.
One of the few purely American food inventions.
And versatility is great. I love versatility.
Right. What can't you do with hot dogs? You can eat them without the bun. You can eat them with the bun. The condiment assortments. You can chop up hot dogs, throw some cheese on that shit.
It's quick. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
It's beefy.
Why? Why did we go there?
Yeah, and they're
hot
great.
Dogs are also inherently tied to baseball.
Right, because America.
What a transition!
Transitions.
MLB. We're currently in the midst of baseball All-Star break. All-Star game was last night. Didn't watch it, but based on the box score. It was super boring.
Justin Upton had a nice play.
Regular games will proceed on Friday. Who are your Pennant favorites to win?
I follow baseball very
the break.
loosely for the first half of the season because the season is way too long and it gets very boring. But, when I pick up baseball, I expect the people who are leading to win. So right now that would be LA and Houston, just based on the records, based on what I've been reading in articles. Those two teams have been fairly dominant. Both teams reached 60 wins before the break, which is absurd.
Wow. They both have a pretty good mix of young players and veterans. It's hard to argue with wins.
Right.
I'm going to go with the Dodgers in the NL this year. Clayton Kershaw may be the best pitcher ever, even if Scherzer is going to win the Cy Young. As it looks,
it's a bold. It's a hot take.
Kenley Jansen is one of the premier closers in the game right now. They have the pitchers, they have the depth and talent in the field. As long as they stay healthy, I can't see anyone in the NL matching up with them talent-wise. Right? The Brewers are playing well. The Rockies are playing well. Maybe Arizona can take a shot at them. Arizona's rotation is a bit better than I think people give them credit for. Zach Greinke leads those guys. And Paul Goldschmidt is a top 5 player.
I know how much you love the Goldschmidt.
In my opinion. He's so good. Someone give him some credit. But for Houston, as much as I love their young core, and they are fun to watch, those guys, I don't know if they have the pitching. Kukla is good. He's injured right now. He's supposed to be back, but we'll see how he does the rest of the year. Lance McCullers is too young to be that number 1 guy if Kukla can't go. They have a bunch of pretty decent guys after that, but nobody that jumps off the page at you and says, okay, I can get on their back. I can trust them to win games. Who does have that, though, I think, is Boston. If you go down the list, Chris Sale is going to win the Cy Young. David Price is getting back in the gear. Rick Porcello, Drew Pomeranz. Craig Kimbrell is the best closer in the game.
Yeah, that's a good
at
lineup.
the moment.
It's a very good rotation.
And with how good their young field players are, if Hanley Ramirez can kick it into gear, and numbers show that when Hanley goes, the offense goes. If he gets it going at the right time, it's going to be a hard team to beat.
I really hope they don't win. Boston has too many good teams. It's not fair.
It's fair. It's a fair thing to say.
Yeah.
What isn't fair is cheating, and players believe that. Pitchers in particular are under belief that the Major League Baseball is cheating by juicing the baseballs, which is to say they're I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're modifying to make them fly further. After the first half of the season, 2.52 home runs per game is a record above the 2000 season. They just got out of a June month in which the league broke the total home run record in a month, right? That was set in 2000. There are a lot of statistics that support this juice ball theory. Major League Baseball is refuting it. If the ball isn't juiced, and this is just the way it's going, I ask you, why not juice it? What's so wrong with that?
I'm going to have to agree with you. Who cares? Baseball isn't a lot of fun to watch. I love going to baseball games, but not to watch. I feel like going to the game enhances the experience because you're there. I feel like watching from my TV is incredibly boring. The action is slow. It is. And that means when the action happens, there's a big payoff.
It's hard to watch until the races start coming down to the wire and the playoffs start.
Right.
It can be.
And people love home runs. Home runs are awesome.
Yeah.
People love strikeouts. Striking a strikeout
the home run rate is soaring. The strikeout rate is soaring.
It's awesome.
It's
way better.
It's better. It's what people want. Here's my thing. I'm not saying we should drastically change the game, though, right? I don't want one player to be jacking 10 home runs a game. Right? I'm not saying that soccer should be played without offsides. Right? I don't want to change how the game works. I'm not a purist baseball junkie, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think for casual fans, this could go a long way.
Yeah, I like baseball a lot. I always watch the Tigers in the second half of the season, regardless of whether they're bad or good, because I love the sport like I love other sports.
Yeah.
But I feel like anything you can do to make anything you can do to make the game more thrilling and more exciting on a daily basis through this 162 game season, it needs to be done. It's ridiculous. I feel like the sport in itself could very much improve things like its popularity and its viewership if you just shorten the season. Now, I know that's never going to happen because of TV contracts and, money is being made through the entire season. So, for those
it's not a good look for them that the home run derby gets more buzz than most of the season does for casual fans.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Speaking of the home run derby, Aaron Judge put on a show the other night.
The Judge.
The Judge.
Great nickname.
I didn't watch it.
I did watch it.
You did watch it.
Yeah.
Because it is clearly better than the All-Star game.
Right. Because it's fun to watch guys smack the ball 518 feet in the air.
I don't even watch All-Star games. I don't watch any All-Star games anymore.
Oh, no, they're awful.
They're terrible.
They're so bad.
What I would want to see is I'd like to see more like skills challenges.
Yes. I would love to see that in baseball, too.
Put those young shortstops out there.
And have them throw through targets at first base.
Oh, my God.
That'd be so cool.
Have like a ball shooter that kind of just randomly sends one out there.
Maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. You put divots in the ground. You dig up like holes. And you shoot ground balls. And they have to react off of the weird bounces. That'd be so cool.
Right. If the All-Star break is about showcasing the best talents in your game,
I just want to see them play wacky games.
Skills challenges do a better job of showcasing that talent. I think the NHL started doing a lot of skills challenges, like just crazy all over the place ones, and they were a lot more entertaining than the All-Star game.
The NFL did it too this year. I didn't watch the NFL All-Star game.
Yeah.
What I did watch was the passing challenge where Drew Brees was ripping balls through swinging targets.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I want to see.
And I watched the AFC NFC dodgeball game they played. That was ridiculous. That was so much fun.
Put the fastest outfielders in the middle of center field and just shoot them up there and see if they can get all of them.
Have the players race the.
See if they can catch 2 in a row.
Have the guys race the ice dude, the guy in the jumpsuit. Yeah.
Look, that would be fun. I think that would be fun. I want to see what these kind of players want to do, and baseball's looking to get fun again. There's been a lot of talk about making baseball cool again, for what it's worth. One of the ways I think they can do that is to really market the players instead of the game. Something
that is executed flawlessly in other leagues. Like I know you think it's executed perfectly.
I wouldn't say perfectly, but we'll get into that in a sec. What happens with players with big personalities in baseball a lot is the personalities come out and they get crapped on.
Yeah,
right?
Don't step outside the game.
Right, exactly. When they start to get bigger than the game, then people start to pile on them. You think about the most obvious examples, Yasiel Puig.
Yeah.
Niger Morgan and his alter ego kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He got crapped on. This happens not just in Major League Baseball. You'd think most obvious examples in other sports, PK Subban, hockey player with personality, and steps outside the game and he gets crapped on.
He gets crapped on a lot for really stupid things too.
For being a cool guy.
He was making comments about how he was chilling at Wimbledon and people were like, "Oh, focus on hockey."
For being a cool guy, he gets crapped on.
No.
The NBA markets these personalities.
And it works really well.
That's why the NBA is drawn. They do it better than everybody else. including the NFL. The NFL is trying to turn it around with they're allowed to celebrate touchdowns now.
Mm-hmm.
They're allowed to show emotion like humans instead of making them football robots.
The only player that I've ever seen not celebrate touchdowns is Barry Sanders. And that was like almost a celebration in itself.
Right. If you market players, you make it cool for casual fans, right? The NBA is growing not because more basketball junkies are watching it. Basketball junkies are going to watch. People that don't really care about basketball, but they want to see Steph Curry go crazy. And they want to see Russell Westbrook get mad at the rim. And they want to see Westbrook and Durant fight each other on the court.
Right.
Right? That's what the NBA is doing. And you do have to balance that because some of those things is what drives me a little crazy about the NBA. And I think that's why I prefer college basketball a little bit more, because it is more about the game and the atmospheres than it is about individual players and what they're doing off the court. But you do definitely have to find that balance because revenue is important, growing your fan base is important.
Sure.
Yeah, and baseball is currently not doing anything to draw those personalities out and to create more interest in the game. The game by itself is
not great, in my opinion.
It's not interesting to an average person on the street.
Not great enough
at the moment. No.
Not great enough to pull anyone in by itself.
Right. Most people, I think, wouldn't watch just a random high school baseball game in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a lot of people would watch a random football game. Football's fun to watch.
Football doesn't need to market personalities as much.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why it generates more revenue per game than any other sport.
Yeah. You do have to keep some of what's special for the purists, for the real fans, per se. But with that said, who is the coolest baseball player, and like who do you think should be the face of Major League Baseball?
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is the coolest baseball player.
I think Aaron Judge is the most marketable player right now. He's in a massive media market. New York. Legendary franchise.
The Judge.
Great nickname, great name. And the way he plays is exciting because he just smacks the hell out of the ball. He just smacks it. He sends it flying through the air. That's what people want to see. People don't care if the ball is juiced or not.
Yeah.
People don't care if he's on steroids or not. Well, he's not.
Statisticians do.
I don't know. Point is, this guy, I mean, I also care if he's on steroids. Yeah. That was a joke. That was a joke. And I don't know if he is on steroids. Literally no proof. I just was making a joke. But
I mean, he's 6'7", 280 pounds, right?
Right.
He's just a monster.
Yeah, he's just a monster. He's a freak of nature athletically. He's such a fun player to watch, and being in the environment and being the slugger he is, he's the perfect player. And he's young. He's so young.
He's young.
If they slap his face on every MLB thing, it'll be on there for 10, 12 years.
So, even though he's not like a top 10 player yet, he's still a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Mike Trout is indisputably the best player in baseball.
Yeah.
Mike Trout's not the face of the MLB right now. Right. And I don't think he should be, because as good as Mike Trout is, he's playing for the Angels right now, and nobody wants to put themselves through watching the Angels just so they can watch Mike Trout. I think the face, and maybe he is the face of it right now, I think it's Bryce Harper.
That's a fair assertion.
Bryce Harper is just cool, dude.
He's a cool guy.
He's just cool.
He speaks his mind.
Yeah. He's got personality.
He's got personality.
And that's why I like him.
He's also got charisma, too. If you watch him in interviews, he's very, he knows what he's going to say.
And he's a superstar.
Yeah.
He's definitely a top 10 player, maybe top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd put him top 5.
He's got the whole package in terms of someone you want to, be the most marketable player in the game. No, I don't think he is. I think Aaron Judge is more marketable because I love what he's doing as a rookie. But,
what Bryce Harper needs now, though, is he needs to win.
Right. He's not a winner.
Major League Baseball needs Bryce Harper to win. You think they should rig it?
Like the NBA? No. You think they should rig it? No, they shouldn't rig it. Can't compromise the integrity of the game like that.
No, but definitely the people that are in charge of Major League Baseball's finances wouldn't have a problem with.
No, they wouldn't have a problem with Bryce Harper
winning a World Series. He's been the face of it. He's definitely the coolest player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like Joe Cool.
There's just something about a big dude, long hair, got an arm sleeve on his offhand, just jacking the ball up.
Yeah.
I like Giancarlo Stanton too, but he's fallen off a little bit.
I feel like Bryce Harper is like the guy in the back of the like the 40s style theme bar who, you know, is standing by the jukebox and he like hits it with his shoulder and then it starts playing.
What about Chris Bryant? What do you think about Chris Bryant being the face of the MLB?
I don't love Chris Bryant.
You don't?
No, I just really.
He just doesn't. He's a great player. He doesn't.
It's hard. But
it doesn't stand out to me in
we're saying all this
the way
stuff.
Bryce Harper does.
We're saying all this stuff about how some players don't stand out. I feel like Bryce Harper stands out because he's like the only player speaking out against this type of culture that's been fostered. This culture stand out.
That's a really good point.
It's hard for players to feel comfortable being themselves and standing out.
That's a good
in
point.
The media.
Yeah.
Like maybe we don't know any of these players' actual personalities. Maybe they're all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
The only one we really know is Bryce Harper. We know he's brash. We know he's, you know, willing to say whatever he wants to say, which is, you know, people love the anti-establishment guy. That's everyone's favorite guy. And right now he's saying baseball needs to change. So all the fans are like, yeah, anti-establishment.
I love Bryce Harper. And I think it needs to be a hitter. Can't be a pitcher in the face.
Defense wins championships, but defense isn't fun to watch for most people. I think defense is fun to watch. Defense isn't fun to watch for most people.
Defense doesn't make the league money.
Right.
Bernie. No, you're absolutely right. Hope we take a break real quick and we'll talk about Wimbledon championships when we come back.
Ooh.
Yes, you're so excited. All right, here we go. We're back again. Bernie, we saw Spider-Man last week.
Yeah.
Solid 8 out of 10, I think.
It was a great film.
8 out of 10 is very good. I don't know if 8 out of 10 is great.
I mean,
maybe 9 out of 10 is great.
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm very critical of movies, Grant.
Ooh.
I take into account things like cinematography, screenwriting, as everyone should. I'm sorry, I'm being really douchey. Point is, it was a great film. Very much enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. I saw it a second time.
Did you?
I did. I loved it.
You know who else has... I don't know where I'm going with that. Shoot.
Let's talk about tennis.
Let's talk about tennis. I thought I had something, but it vanished.
It's okay. I didn't have anything.
Here we go. Rafael
first?
Nadal goes down.
Yes.
A thrilling 28-game fifth set against 16th ranked Muller. Don't know what his first name is. Don't particularly care.
It's like G Giles.
This is more about Rafa. He hasn't won a Wimbledon title in 7 years. He hasn't even made a quarterfinal in 5.
Well, Wimbledon isn't his tournament.
Does he ever win another one?
Win another Wimbledon?
Yeah.
No, he's past his prime.
Win another Wimbledon.
As a player, he's still fantastic. Don't misunderstand me.
Yeah, he's ranked second right now.
Right, but
if I'm not mistaken.
I think he is past his prime as a tennis player.
Sure.
I think that it's hard for him to win at Wimbledon when there are other players who kind of play better on grass than he does. I feel like, you know, he's going to still be good for a couple of years, but I don't think he's ever going to win another.
You don't think he's going to ever win another one?
Never going to win another Wimbledon.
If ever there was a chance for him to get to the final, it might have been this year.
He didn't have a particularly strong draw. I thought he was going to make it farther than he did.
We saw today that Andy Murray taken down by American Sam Querrey.
That was actually my pick to win the tournament.
Yeah, you blew it.
I did blew it.
So, Querrey takes him down. He's 29, though. It's not like he's an upstart looking to break through. What happened to men's tennis in America? Is there a resurgence on the way?
I don't really know what happened because what happened in first place, I'm not really aware of. It was before my time, really.
Yeah.
Watching tennis.
Andre Agassi,
The
Pete
greats.
Sampras.
Andre Agassi was the closest to me when I was very little.
Yeah.
I watched some Andre Agassi.
Yeah.
But, men's tennis used to be dominated by, maybe not dominated, but heavily, heavily influenced by Americans. You had, you had Jimmy Connors, you had the McEnroes.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Just so many great players came out of America, and then it stopped for a while.
Andy Roddick,
he was world number one.
No, what?
For a period of time, Roddick was world number one. Yes, sir.
My boy Andy.
Yeah.
He was my favorite. He was an ass, but he was my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened, but we're seeing these young players. If you look at world rankings for U17 players, it's promising. It's very promising. There are 5 or 6 guys who people are looking at right now. I can't recall the names because, I don't watch. TFO is the only one I can remember.
TFO is the only one I can remember.
There's a couple guys who some people think are even better than him. Can't remember the names. I feel really stupid. I should have prepared them. But the point is, American tennis is going to be good again soon. I guarantee it. And I just want to point out that if Americans cared about tennis more than other sports, we would be the best all the time. Because I feel like our athletes go play other sports when they could be playing tennis.
That's like the soccer argument, though.
It is like the soccer argument. Yeah. But I feel like it's more true for America because I'm an American and I brazenly support American everything all the time.
All right. So Querrey takes down Andy Murray, Novak Djokovic.
Right.
Out with an injury. Rafael Nadal. Wimbledon struggles continue. Roger Federer, who, by the way, 35 years old, looks as good as he ever has. Has not dropped a set in the tournament yet. He's got, I don't want to disrespect the other players he doesn't play, but he's almost a clear path to number 8. If we can recall, Federer took some significant time off during the clay court season to rest, and this is something we are seeing athletes do in a lot of other sports. If Federer at 35 wins this, do more of the big players follow his lead?
I think yes, and I think more of the players should follow his lead.
Yeah.
Djokovic is complaining about injury and court conditions. And, there's some truth to the court conditions argument.
Yeah.
He's also advocating for the 5th set system at Wimbledon to be switched. I know several players really don't like the infinite games kind of scenario they have.
It's fun to watch, probably not to play.
Right. Game matches can go on for, I think the longest one was 11 hours.
Yeah, John Isner.
Something like
70,
that.
68, whatever.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And all those, I don't know. Point is, I don't think that you should abolish that rule at Wimbledon. It's such a fun rule for the fans. It's so exciting. And I think the players need to take care of their bodies. And I feel like resting is a perfectly fine thing to do. It's paying dividends for Roger Federer this season.
Clearly.
Going into Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And, he's about to...
He looks like a god.
He's about to possibly win Wimbledon at 35 years old, which is quite the accomplishment.
Yes.
Now, I would like to take this moment to make a new prediction for who's going to win Wimbledon. It's going to be the American.
Stop it.
Sam Querrey.
Stop it.
He beat the man I thought was going to win. And now no one can stop him. Because, as few people know, tennis, if you beat the best player in the world, that makes you the best player in the world. That's how things work. So, Querrey's going to win Wimbledon.
Well, Federer was my pick. He's still alive. He's looking at the peak of his powers.
Well, you know what they say, second time's the charm. And this is my second pick. Querrey.
I don't believe they say that.
Yeah, they do. Everyone does. Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Like well, six or seven people I know say
Querrey loses next round. Who's he playing next round? Let me check.
I'm blanking. Can't remember who Querrey's playing. You know why
Querrey.
I probably forgot? It's because it doesn't matter. He's going to win anyway.
He's playing Cilic.
Oh, he'll be Cilic.
He'll be Cilic.
He'll be Cilic. Yeah. See? Maybe he will win.
In the semifinal.
Anyway, yes, more players will start resting, and more players will start resting, and more players will start playing better.
And they should.
And they should.
And I'm not a tennis guy, so maybe I don't know. I don't care about tournaments that aren't the big majors. Who gives a damn?
I watch tournaments that aren't the big majors probably because I love tennis a lot. But I totally understand why players would sit out, why the top players would sit out. Some of the lower players need to win those tournaments to qualify.
No, absolutely.
And they need to win those tournaments for their purse annually. But, some of these guys, if one or two top players sit out every tournament, I'm not going to be too upset about it as a tennis fan.
Federer doesn't need to waste his time with some crappy tournament that
when you're a
3,000 people are going to watch.
Yeah, when you're a tennis god,
his legacy's on the line.
Some of these tournaments are
do what you have to
beneath you, and I know that might sound a little bit pretentious, but it's true.
How could you sound pretentious for someone else?
Right, I know.
No, but I know what you mean. It is it's beneath him.
It's beneath him,
and he has looked a bit like a god this tournament.
Yeah, not dropping a set. That's
I watched a few.
I love him so much.
A few sets. I don't think I watched a full match, but he's just cruising out there. He's doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, and his game is tailor-built to continue to hold up with his age.
He's doing whatever he wants.
Because his technique is perfect. I think I've said this.
You did last
time, but
yeah.
A great contrast that was so much fun to watch when he and Nadal had that rivalry going for so many years was that Nadal was pure athleticism. He was pure technique. It was like two contrasting tennis styles smashing against each other. And it was wonderful to watch. But there's no way that anyone who plays with that style has the same longevity as Roger Federer does as at the top of their game. And I'm not taking anything away from Nadal or anyone else who plays with more athletic style. But, Federer has both athleticism and the textbook technique to play in as long as he wants to.
So how long does he play that?
How long does he play? He plays until he starts losing. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
What age is he now?
What's that? I'm going to say 40.
40.
I think he's going to play 5 more years.
5 more years?
Yeah.
5 more years of Roger. I would take it.
I would.
In a heartbeat.
I hope so.
Yeah. Let's take a break before we...
He's going to play until he's a man. Until he's 40. Because then he'll be a man.
I'm not.
He'll be 40. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. We can cut that out. We can cut that.
I don't get it. What is that from?
I'll show you on the break.
What is that from? No, just tell me what it's from.
It's the Oklahoma State coach at the press conference. It's one of my favorite press conferences of all time.
Mike Gundy?
Was it Mike Gundy? No, it was the guy before him, I think.
The mullet dude.
Yeah.
Gundy.
Was it Gundy? I don't remember.
Whatever. We'll figure it out during
the break.
Finish it with the big ending.
Finish it with the big ending.
Welcome back, everybody. Time for our big finishing segment, which is, as it seems, unnamed at the moment.
Where we talk about unimportant things that happened this week.
Yep.
And what we want to see next week.
Best performance of the week, D'Angelo Williams at WWE. Wayne Rooney wearing Everton pajamas during his Manchester United career. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dodgers become the first team to 60 wins. And Floyd Mayweather takes Conor McGregor to town at the press conference.
I'm going to say Floyd Mayweather.
You're going to do it.
Taking Conor McGregor to town, much like he will in the actual fight. This is the stupidest fight that's ever been orchestrated.
This is dumb.
This is kangaroo court.
This is real dumb.
This is absurd. But I feel like much like the actual fight, McGregor came in and he was kind of flailing around and trying to swing for these big punches, and Floyd kind of gracefully bowed over and
kicked his ass. Yep.
Conor was rambling a lot. He was saying a lot of really weird things. It didn't really make any sense. He touched on this whole thing about Floyd needing money, which is a lot of bullshit. People are making way too much of a big deal about this tax thing. Floyd Mayweather isn't out of money. He just doesn't want to move his assets around to move things that aren't liquid assets.
He's named money.
Right. His nickname is Money. He has money.
He has money.
So that's my win of the week.
I'm going to go with Wayne Rooney. Super cute story. Dude's going back to his boyhood club. That's loyalty right there.
Yeah.
He's a true fan. Wearing the pajamas. Worst performance of the week. Brewers calls for racism. Please recap this. This thing you told me about last week with the girl and the K's.
Oh, yeah. I love this story. This girl was walking around a baseball game. It happened this week, so it counts. I'm not sure if this was her first baseball game. I don't want to rip into her too hard. But midway through the game, she sees a sign in the stands, and she goes, "That is racist." She takes a picture. She posts it to her Twitter. She at Brewers, how can you let this sign fly? It's a sign that says K, K, K. And, that was just the stupidest thing in the world. This girl doesn't.
Yeah, bad performance for her. If it's a
What
joke,
an L.
If it's a joke, it's a bad joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. She was dead serious. Someone actually pointed that out to her, and regardless, she came back and she said, it's still racist, and they have to change it because it's racist.
So pitchers aren't allowed to get third strikeouts unless they get two at the same time.
Right. They need to strike out two players at once.
Right.
Yeah.
Second option, Magic, or not Magic Johnson himself, but the Lakers sit Lonzo Ball against the Kings for the Summer League.
That's a huge L.
Detroit Lions take a huge L for Calvin Johnson's recent comments, and DeMar DeRozan for throwing the ball at a pro-am referee. Come on, man.
Drew League is a serious business. I'm not taking anything away from DeMar DeRozan for that. He's trying to win.
He's just out. This referee's just out here trying to make like $40 or something. Give him a break. Come on. Yeah. How are you about to be like that? Who's your pick?
My pick is the Detroit Lions. I love the Lions organization.
I know.
I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible that they mistreated Calvin Johnson the way they did. And not just mistreated. Today Calvin Johnson came out and explained that he felt that the entire organization was absolutely abysmal, that there was no way they were ever going to win a Super Bowl, which is harsh coming from the greatest player to ever play for your team, arguably. I know there have been some good players to come through Detroit.
If I can recall reading this correctly, he said one of the primary reasons for him retiring early was their futility, and that he felt trapped there.
Right.
Not a good look.
At the same time, I don't understand why he retired if that was the case. He could have demanded a trade. He could have waited his contract out and gone somewhere else. But at the same time, I do appreciate his loyalty to the team despite the troubles he felt.
Bad look for the organization. Bad look for the Lakers organization. I'm going with worst performance of the week is whoever did not demand that Lonzo Ball at least play this game. Right? This dude he has not played a single NBA game yet. Not a minute. Right? How does he already have the most haters in the league?
It's his dad.
Doesn't make any sense. You don't want to pile more onto this guy.
I'm
sure if it was up to him, he would play, but it looks a little bit like he's ducking the De'Aaron Fox rematch. If I was the Lakers, I'd let him play for 4 minutes, take him out and say he couldn't continue. At least people don't pile on him now. Right.
My favorite thing that I saw internet commenters going at was people were like, oh, he's scared of De'Aaron Fox. That's why he's not playing.
And obviously he's not, but that's the way people are going to perceive it.
That's the most idiotic thing you could ever think. What's he going to do in the regular season? He's just not going to play against any team with a good guard. Whenever he has to play the Warriors or the Rockets or anyone from the Western Conference, really.
Right now, the Lakers need to be taking pressure off of him.
Right.
And they're not doing it.
So
that's my worst performance of the week. What are you most excited to watch this week?
I'm most excited to get into baseball. Every year I come in right after the All-Star break and I take it to the end of the season. I'm not a fake fan. It's too long. The season is too long.
No, it starts to pick up now. It'll be exciting. I'm going to go with the God, Roger, winning his 8th Wimbledon title.
I'm sorry. I'm going to retroactively go back and change.
You can't pick mine.
No, I'm not going to pick yours. I'm going to go back. I'm going to pick Sam Querrey, who I have predicted to win. And my predictions are always correct. except for that one I made earlier. But this one is going to be right. Sam Querrey, first ever Wimbledon title for Querrey. It's going to be great for America. It's going to be great for sports fans.
USA. USA. USA.
And on that note, we're going to end the show.
Thank you, everybody. That's all we have for you today.
Right?
See you next week.
Yeah, on Marginally Qualified.
This has been Marginally Qualified.